and welcome to my garden, and welcome to Saying Yes to Life. I'm Delisa Renideo, and I'm filming this in Vilcabamba, Ecuador. You may hear some bird sounds today, you may see my dogs walking by. Life is happening around here. Now today, I'm going to talk about where I place my attention, I place my life. Think about that for a moment. Our attention is like the steering wheel of our experience. Wherever it points, that's the road our life is traveling down. And we often hear about the power of intention, and intention is important. It's the spark, it's the direction we set. But unless we follow up our intentions with sustained attention, our intentions lose their power. Intention is like the seed we plant, and then attention is the water and the sunlight and the tending to this new plant. It's attention that brings intention to life. So let's talk a little bit about the science of attention. Neurologists tell us that every second, see, there goes real life. Neurologists tell us that every second our brains are bombarded by about 11 million bits of information every second. But we can only consciously notice around 40 of them. There's a big difference between 11 million and 40. So that means almost everything around us is filtered out. What we do notice depends upon where we put our attention. So if I focus on problems, I experience a world that's filled with problems. If I focus on beauty and kindness and gratitude, suddenly that very same world looks different to me. And attention doesn't just shape what we see, it's actually shaping our chemistry of our bodies. So when we focus on fear, our body fills with cortisol, the stress hormone. When we focus on love or gratitude, then we release serotonin and oxytocin, the feel-good and the connection chemicals. So our attention literally changes how we feel inside because it's changing our chemistry and our emotions. So now I'd like to talk about attention as a creative force. When I say where I place my attention, I place my life, I mean that literally. If I give my attention to negativity, I train my brain to find more negativity. If I give my attention to gratitude, I begin to notice blessings that I had maybe taken for granted. Over time, this becomes the filter through which I live. And remember, that filter is filtering out almost everything in our lives except for that 40 bits per second. So this filter creates my personal reality. Attention is not just noticing, it's creating. It builds the world we live in moment by moment. So as an example, I grew up, I'm noticing that bird right now. We call that a raucous wren. It's actually a fasciated wren, but it has a raucous voice. So I grew up in a quiet, rural part of Alaska, nowhere near a city. And we were fortunate to live on a lake, and the loudest sound was often the call of a loon. And that was the world my attention was trained to notice. It was fairly subtle and peaceful and natural. So now when I visit a city, my whole system feels overwhelmed. The cars, the noise, the constant motion. And yet, seeming strange to me, people who live there feel comfortable with this, or even energized, because their attention has been trained to filter differently. So they can ignore much of what I am feeling overwhelmed by. Now, neither of these is wrong. Both experiences, mine with a peaceful background and people living in cities, both just show that our attention shapes the way life feels. The same world, but filtered differently, creates different realities. Now, we may know this one that I'm about to talk about. Attention is a gift. Our attention isn't only powerful for ourselves, creating our lives, but when we give our attention to other people, when we really listen, when we really see someone, it communicates to them, you matter. You're worthy of being heard. And that kind of attention is really healing, and it's one of the greatest gifts we can give. Now you can see how natural this longing for attention is in children. Have you noticed how a child will call out, look at me, as they're doing something exciting? What they're really saying is, give me your attention and share this moment with me. Now that craving doesn't disappear when we grow up. It's still in all of us, that need to be seen, to be noticed, to matter. And giving that gift to others is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to spread love. But there is a battle going on for our attention. In today's world, our attention is treated like a commodity. Businesses know its value and they compete aggressively for it. Think about it. The news outlets, social media platforms, advertisers, they're all designed to grab your attention, and not usually toward truth or beauty, but toward whatever will keep your eyes glued to the screen watching what they're putting up. And it may be things that create outrage or fear or just endless distraction. And every time we give our attention to those things, we're placing our life energy there. We're training our brains. We're shaping our chemistry. We're setting the emotional tone of our day. There's a price we pay for doing this. The price of not being selective is high. If we don't consciously choose what we watch, what we read, what we listen to, then someone else is choosing for us. We can end up filled with fear because our attention has been fed a steady diet of crisis and outrage. We can feel empty because we spent our energy scrolling through images of other people's lives instead of living our own. And we might just become restless and unable to sit quietly because our attention has been trained to crave stimulation. So when we don't choose, the world chooses for us. And the cost is our peace of mind, our sense of gratitude, and our capacity to notice beauty. But here's the good news. We can choose. This is where our intention comes in. By being selective, by consciously deciding what voices, images, and stories we let in, we reclaim our attention. We reclaim our life. Because every moment of attention is a vote for the world we want to live in and the person we want to become. So today, may we each just pause and breathe and choose, consciously choose, to place our attention on gratitude, on love, on beauty. Because when we do that, we're not just saying yes to this moment, we're saying yes to life itself. So in my next episode, we're going to take a look at the natural next step, which is about meaning. How do we make meaning of our lives? And what are the meanings that we give to what we notice, where we put our attention, and the beliefs that grow from these meanings? These shape the world that we live in. So because attention and meaning are partners in creating our reality, that's what I'll be addressing in my next episode. So for now, I just thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for paying attention to your intentions of creating a more joyful, loving, and peaceful world. If you know some people who might benefit from hearing this message or some of my others, I invite you to share this episode with them. And if you're enjoying these episodes yourself, I invite you to subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next episode is published. I am publishing a new episode twice a week on Wednesdays and Sundays. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you the next time.